Well, good evening and thanks for joining us here on News 20 on GTN. I'm Randy Gardner. We've got a great show for you tonight, almost an annual tradition here on News 20. Joining me to my right, we have Darrell Wise, the CEO of Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. Glad you could join us.
Well, thank you for having me, as always.
Your second year under that title here at News 20. Good.
Right.
We could see you here again. How things been going? You adjusting to CEO now?
I'm trying. As a friend of mine said, you don't know how it is until you get there. So I'm beginning to learn that.
As you took over, I know you've been with the agency for about 7 years now, and you took over the CEO role, which is a huge accomplishment and goal to be a CEO. Is it all that you expected it to be, or is it more?
It is much more, very much more. I mean, because I had been with the agency, I felt that I was ready. I had come through the ranks, and I felt, oh yeah, this is going to be piece of cake. I'll be able to just step in and take the agency from this point to that point. But as you don't know what you don't know. So when I stepped in, there is so much more. And as far as learning how to deal with the board of directors, because typically, when I was a VP, I just had to report to the CEO. But now, as a CEO, I report to the board of directors, it could be up to 25 people. So that is a different animal altogether. So it's been very challenging, but it's been a learning process, and I'm happy where we are now and where we're going.
For the people who don't know, let's take a step back and talk about the history of Annie Malone and how it got to where it is now. And then we'll talk much more about your emphasis on where your direction with Annie Malone is going.
In 1886, there were a group called the Women Christians Temperance Union, and they were concerned about how colored orphans were being treated in the St. Louis area. So they got together, and in 1888, they founded the St. Louis Colored Orphans Home. In 1913, Annie Malone, who was a businesswoman, philanthropist, she created the chemical hair straightener, got the patent on the first hot comb, and she took over as board chairman, and she donated $10,000 of her money in 1920. Now think about that, 1920, to build the facility that sits at 2612 Annie Malone Drive now, which is the first St. Louis Colored Orphans Home erected in 1922. She held the chairman position in 1943, and in 1946, they renamed the facility the Annie Malone Children's Home in her honor. So over the years, as the needs of the community changed, we've gone from an orphan's home to residential care. We started special education, crisis care. So we were beginning to branch out. We started a daycare. So as the agency changed its mission and changed programs and developed new programs, they felt another name change was in place. So in 1991, they changed to the Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. And that's where we are now. And as we gear up for continually to change the names of programs or try to meet the needs of the community, we're going into a different phase. So there might be something coming up. I'm just going to tease you with that. So
and remember, we get the first dibs on that.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
As far as yourself, when you really stop and think about that rich tradition and history, and you're in charge of it now. Right. How do you step into that and take those realms, knowing that tradition and put your own twist on it?
Well, at this point, I'm saying I'm just trying not to mess it up. I'm trying to keep forward. And for me, it's very interesting because I was a history minor, so I love history, and so just to have a agency that's such steep in tradition and to be the head of it and to want to try to keep it moving, that's been kind of my motivation, is to keep things going, to push forward, and to continue to do the services for the St. Louis community that help the community thrive and strengthen.
Now, we're going to talk in just a bit about the May Day festivities, which are known throughout the entire United States. But as far as your staff and the people who work for you, for the past 15 years that we've been involved with you, there is very few people, I can say, involved in an organization that has more passion about what they're doing than anybody involved, with your staff?
Right. Well, in the nonprofit area, that's the trade-off. You really have to have people that are passionate about the mission that the organization serves. Because as you know, we talked about with the economy the way it is, the funding is down, so we can't pay a lot of money. We can't pay salaries to compete with a lot of for-profit organizations. So the people that work for us really have to have the mission at heart and want to have that heart to service the children and families in the neighborhood.
What's some of the feedback that you hear? I've had individuals on the show who spent time at a younger age at Annie Malone, and now they've grown up to be very successful individuals. When you hear stories like that, it's got to make you very proud.
Oh yes, that is for social workers like myself and other people that work in this field. That is the reason you get into this line of work, is to, as our mission says, improve the quality of life for children and families, and that's what we want to do. So when you hear a person, like for instance, I went to Sam's Club to buy some tires, and two of the people that were working there, I had on my shirt, my Annie Malone shirt, and they said, "Oh, you work at Annie Malone?" I said, "Yes, sir." "Yeah, I grew up, I was there for, so many months back in this time." Like, and the girl, "Me too, I was there." So that does me well to see that they have grown up and they are doing well, and they are, in a sense, alumni of the Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center.
I'll have to ask you, we talked about how rewarding it is. Do you become attached to the stories, the children that are there? Because sometimes they're sad situations on why they're there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You hear about things, and as a CEO, sometimes I don't hear all of the stories out like I used to when I was over programs. Of course, I heard it all, but now I hear bits and pieces, especially some of the more negative stories, unfortunately. But it really it kind of burdens your heart. But at the same time, it also gives you that push to say, okay, well, if this child has gone through this, the least I could do is get out here and push to try to help get some more funding so that in the next place they live, they won't have to deal with that. So it's burdening, but it's also part of the motivation to get out and do a better job.
You had mentioned you worked in programs before. When you have children come through there, you see really anywhere in the United States, you have children who flourish and children who just get stuck somewhere and children who fall through the cracks. What is the difference? Is it a child's motivation? Is it someone like yourself and mentors there that push these children to believe in themselves to go to that next level?
Ooh, there are many factors in that. And part of it is the support that the children have. Once they leave Annie Malone, what we try to do is provide them with community resources and a sense of support beyond our walls. Because when they're there and they're in our custody, for lack of a better word, we can direct them, we can make sure they get to school and back, we can make sure they get to the doctor's office and such, we can make sure if they have clinical issues, we can make sure they see their psychologist or psychiatrist. But once they leave, where they go, the support system they have really will determine if they continue on that road or if they fall through the cracks and end up homeless or in jail or pass away, for lack of a better word.
In terms of, you talk about that length of time that they're with you. For the people who don't understand, walk us through. Children don't stay there for 20 years.
Right.
It's more of a short term.
Correct.
Come in and.
Right. Our crisis care and emergency residential placement program, for the crisis care piece, we bring in children, or children are voluntarily brought in by their parents because the parent is experiencing some type of unforeseen circumstance to where they can not take care of their children at that time. And it could be a variety of reasons. It could be something like we had a mother who had to have hernia surgery. She had twin daughters. They were 2 years old, but she could not pick them up and play with them while she was doing recovery. So she brought them into us. We cared for them. She had her hernia surgery. She recovered, and then she came back and picked her children up. So that was in the span of anywhere from 5 to 15 days. We have children who come, the parent is homeless. The parent has a place to stay, but the children do not. So they can come, we can keep the children until the parent is able to stabilize that housing situation. And then we have those what we call emergency residential placement, when the police respond to a call, they get there, there's no electricity, no gas, 7 kids, no adult supervision. They bring them to us until the juvenile court of the children's division decides to get involved. So we have those areas. And then we have a transitional living program where we work with youth 16 to 21 who are aging out of the system or are at risk of being homeless.
What's some of the feedback that you hear from the children when they know that, yes, I'm in a safe place, I have food, I have shelter? It's got to be just peace of mind for them.
It's peace of mind for them, and sad in some cases because I was talking with my chief operating officer the other day. Is some of them don't want to leave when it comes to that time where they're ready to move on or they've been placed at somewhere else. They don't want to leave because they've become so accustomed to the treatment they're getting and the fact that they're being pushed to go to school every day and they're being pushed to doing homework and their schedules are pretty much set, and a lot of times they never had that before. So they enjoy their stay, and sometimes they're sad to go.
We talked earlier about that funding across the board for all nonprofits.
Right.
What would you say to somebody out there in terms of, a lot of times people don't realize what an organization does until they actually get their hands on it,
right,
or they come and they volunteer and see what. Can people volunteer with Annie
Malone? Of course. They can reach us at 531-0120. They can go to our website, www.anniemalone.com, and they can sign up to volunteer. They can call or speak and ask for the person who recruits volunteers, and we would be more than happy to have them come in and take a look at the agency, to tour, to volunteer, to sign up. Now, they also must be aware that you have to go through a background check. If you want to do direct service with the children, you have to go through the same background check as the staff does.
A lot of times I hear, and I experience it myself, that people will say, well, I volunteer for myself. But once they get involved with the individual or an organization, they say, well, I'm volunteering for them. But when you go home at the end of the day, it means so much to you.
Oh yeah, most
to
definitely.
help somebody
most
out.
Most definitely.
Is that some of the things you hear?
And that's what we That's what we want to hear. We want to create volunteers for life. We want to create volunteers who turned into spokespersons for the agency. Well, I volunteer at Annie Malone, and they're doing a great job at this, and they're helping that, and and I'm going to donate funds, and we want to help. We want them to go through that process of volunteering, having a wonderful volunteer experience, becoming a spokesman, and eventually, of course, becoming a donor, and talking their friends into becoming donors and volunteers and spokesmen.
All right, Darryl, we're going to take a quick break here for just a second. When we come back, we're going to talk much more about the Annie Malone May Day celebration. That's coming up next.
After a car accident, Linda Davis needed CPR. Bill Hamilton needed temporary shelter when a fire destroyed his home. During an operation, Haley Reynolds needed a blood transfusion.
Excuse me, may I go into that room, please?
Next year, revenue growth again will be a focus. Top priority.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
And welcome back. We're here with Darryl Wise, the CEO of the Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. Glad you could stay with us here.
Yes.
Because we've got the beef of what we're talking about here now. We're going to talk about the May Day festivities.
Yes.
Always something that's on my calendar every year, not only because we have you on the show, but we're involved in the parade, and we love it. It's a great time. Tell us about the date and how people can get involved in this.
Okay. Well, the date of the May Day Parade is May 18th, 2014, downtown St. Louis from 1 to approximately 4. It's always the third Sunday in May. So people always say, what is it? It's always the third Sunday in May or the Sunday after Mother's Day. So we are happy to have that. And we're also this year, May 3rd, we're having a kickoff event, an ice cream social at our crisis care facility over on Page 53, 55 page. So it's kind of an open ice cream social, open house, so people can come out, look at the facility. We have bouncy houses and things for the kids, of course, ice cream and sodas, candy, all that type of stuff. Get them on that sugar high, so you deal with it. But that's going to be the kickoff event, and then we're having the parade May 18th.
Yeah, I remember 15 years ago, it was set up in that way that I think the soiree was set up on the grounds of Annie Malone on that Friday night.
And we're doing that. We just don't do it on the same weekend now. We did it last year in front of the grounds on Annie Malone Drive, and this year we're doing that in August. August 15th will be the soiree.
Probably takes a lot of burden off you guys because that's a lot of big events.
Yeah,
right in a row.
Yes. The staff was pleased that we decided to not have everything in the same weekend.
Talk to us about the parade in terms of sheer numbers and just how well known it is across the United States.
Well, it's known the Annie Malone May Day Parade is the oldest parade, African American parade in the country. It is the second largest African American parade in the country and is the agency largest fundraiser. And so each year, numbers are a little difficult. We're actually trying to figure out a way to better capture the number, but we get numbers anywhere from what we say from 5,000, 25, 50, 100,000. There's just a branch of numbers that we get, but we're going to try to figure out a way to accurately kind of depict that, especially for agencies or funders that want to know what their what's the benefit of supporting the parade.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you some video that we shoot from the news truck as we drive through the parade, and you can see 20, 30 deep for miles down the road.
Well,
that should be enough
right there.
Yes,
that's what we need. That's what we would need.
When you look at this event as a whole, and a few years back you had the move. Talk about the feedback now. I know at the beginning it was, well, should we, and you did it, and it seems to have worked out very well.
Yes, it's worked out well. We've the parade has continued to thrive and grow, and however, we still get those, oh, why y'all move the parade, but the purpose of moving the parade was simply that it had outgrown the area in which we were having it. Continue to have the parade on Natural Bridge, it was just the ability to stage the parade was just not there. We didn't have the space to do it, so we had to have a larger area. And so we moved it downtown. And sometimes people don't realize, you're taking it out of the neighborhood. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose was just that the parade had grown, and we wanted to move it downtown. And then every other major parade in the city is downtown. We feel we are a major parade, and so we deserve to be downtown as well.
As far as your direction yourself, we touched on this earlier in the show, but for anybody just joining us, as you step into the role of CEO, what do you see for the next, you said you're just trying to not mess it up, but what's your vision for the next 5-10 years?
Well, my vision is we're kind of working on what we call infrastructure. We want to make sure that our funding is solid, that our programs and services are solid, that all of the events we are participating in and performing are making money, so that we can continue to have a solid foundation to move forward. And then as we stabilize those areas, then we will look into things such as expanding programming, possibly getting into mental health services, possibly looking at other type of services for the community that we can provide. So this year, initially, it's all about stabilization and almost perfecting what we're doing right now.
I'm going to ask you a question. You might have to think a little bit about this one. But as far as yourself, now being in the position you are, what do you think your staff and others say about you as a leader?
Ooh. Okay.
Or what would you want them to say?
What would I want them to say?
Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I would think they would say that I'm the type of person that I'm looking forward. I never lose my cool. I try to be calm and congenial to all people, regardless of the situation. They've never seen me lose it and go nuts. I try to keep the agency at the forefront of all the decisions that I make, and within those decisions, I try to keep our constituency, the children and families we serve, at the head of those decisions that we make. And I am trying to do my best, as I said, not only not to mess it up, but to keep this legacy intact and to be a good steward and spokesman for the children and families we serve.
We talked about that funding earlier and donations just down across the board for all nonprofits. And you mentioned those tours that people can come down and find out more, whether you're an individual who would like to donate or a corporation or company
Correct.
who would like to get involved with an organization.
Correct.
Walk us through the steps on how they would do that. And when they come for a tour, what do they actually see and experience?
Well, if they wanted to set up a tour, they could contact Jahara Davis at 531-0120. She's the Director of Resource Development, and she will set that up for them. And when we do our tours at the programmatic site and on page, and we come in and we show them the crisis center and the school, as well as our transitional living group home for girls. And we basically give them a packet of information that explains what we do, how many children and families we served during 2013, our brochure of all the children, the services that we have, and then we just kind of walk them through and answer any questions they may have about the agency.
Now, for the people who don't understand the placement of where Annie Malone Children and Family Services, it's in the Ville neighborhood, but explain exactly, I guess, the boundaries of that.
The Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center Administrative Office is still located in the Ville, which is on 2612 Annie Malone Drive, which is located in the 4th Ward of the city of St. Louis. Alderman Sam Moore is our alderman person. He would like me to say that. And our program site is on 5355 Page Boulevard, which is in the 26th Ward. Alderman Frank Williamson is our alderman over on that side. And it consists of a campus of our crisis care, special education school, and our transitional living group home for girls. So that's between those two, those are the facilities that we cover.
As we start to wrap things up here, Daryl, let's once again kind of go back, let people know how they can get involved in the parade. It's not too late if they still want to sign up. And if they don't want to be in the parade, definitely love to see them come down along the parade route and be part of the event.
Most definitely. They can contact us at 531-0120. They can contact us by email at amcfsc@anniemalone.com or www.anniemalone.com. They can sign up for the parade all the way up until Saturday, May 17th. But if you come Saturday, May 17th, you must bring cash, and we will assist you with that. And like I said, if you come out this year, the funds for the parade are going to support our transitional living group home, which is working with children 16 to 21 who are about to age out of the system and who have the potential to become homeless. So this program offers them financial skills or other life skills that make them self-sufficient adults. So that's where the funds are going this year.
And besides that, you've got the event on May 3rd. Let's talk about that.
May 3rd, the Ice Cream Social / Open House. This is the event to kind of show the community that we are still around, we're still alive and kicking, and that we are here to provide them with services that will assist children and families in the St. Louis community.
And the soiree event, if anybody's looking for that, that's going to be in August,
August
right?
15th. August 15th on 2612 Annie Malone Drive in front of the agency under the air-conditioned tent. This year.
And Daryl, to wrap things up, your platform right now to leave everybody as CEO of the organization, what you would want to leave them about, what's going on now with the center and what you see for the future.
Well, right now, like I said, we are focused on children and families. We are focused on improving our reach as far as parenting. Another program I've got to mention, we do have a parenting education program in which we are expanding in the St. Louis County. We were fortunate enough to get funds from the St. Louis County Children's Trust Fund, so we run an infant toddler program at the John C. Murphy Clinic in Berkeley and an adolescent program at the Pine Lawn Center on Jennings Station Road. So if anyone is interested in that, they can contact us at 531-0120. But our goal is to strengthen families and communities and to stabilize the children and families that we come in contact with, and to just be the hub for help in the community for other nonprofits as well.
Well, Daryl, looking forward to seeing you at the big parade. It's coming up
Likewise.
right around the corner. Thanks for being a guest on the show this
Thank
year.
you
You're doing
for having
a great
me.
job. Look forward to seeing you again next year.
Most definitely.
All
Most
right,
definitely.
sounds good. Thanks for joining us here on News 20 on GTN. Hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, all the information, go to the website that we've given you throughout the show and find out everything you need to know about the Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on News 20 on GTN. Have a great evening.
After a car accident, Linda Davis needed CPR. Bill Hamilton needed temporary shelter when a fire destroyed his home. During an operation, Haley Reynolds needed a blood transfusion.
Excuse me, may I go into that room, please?
Next year, revenue growth again will be a focus. Top priority.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, so we have to be ready at all hours. We have regularly scheduled deployments that come through, but things rarely run on schedule, so we have a lot of surprises. We have birthdays, we have family reunions. We even had a wedding here once. But whatever they need, we'll do our very best to see they get it. If they need travel arrangements or use of a computer, if they need to change diapers or dry someone's tears, we can help. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done. Help us help them.
The USO depends on the generosity of the American people just like you. To find out how you can help, visit us at uso.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Every one of us knows someone who has been affected by cancer. More than 1.5 million Americans will be diagnosed with cancer this year alone. Each one of them faces new challenges and decisions. I'm Patrick Dempsey, and I know firsthand how dealing with cancer can impact someone's life. My mother is a 2-time ovarian cancer survivor. Our entire family rallied together to support her. One person alone does not beat cancer. That is why I support Breakaway from Cancer, an initiative created to raise awareness about free services and programs for people affected by cancer. Breakaway from Cancer supports the services of 2 nonprofit organizations, the Wellness Community and the National Coalition for Cancer Survivorship, making support, education, and hope available to everyone. These organizations promote quality care and help those touched by cancer take an active role in their recovery and get them the tools they need to live well with and beyond the disease. Don't go through this alone. Visit breakawayfromcancer.com and connect to a variety of free services and programs.
After a car accident, Linda Davis needed CPR. Bill Hamilton needed temporary shelter when a fire destroyed his home. During an operation, Haley Reynolds needed a blood transfusion.
Excuse me, may I go into that Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.